If you like this video, why not subscribe?
Hello out there in internet land. Welcome back to the weekly recap Q&A. That's the show where I sit here in my car because it sounds halfway decent and talk about things that happened last week, specifically answering questions that you sent me through email at frugalfilmmaker@gmail.com. That's the best way to get your questions answered on this show, so if you're interested in having them read or having me answer something both privately and publicly, that's the email address you want. This past week, I did a video, behind-the-scenes video for my thesis film collection day, where I went out to the shooting range with a couple of my actors and a trainer. We shot off some real guns because in the movie they actually use fake guns, and I wanted to give them some experience, about what it was really like if they didn't have it already, which they both kind of did, but I think it's good. It was good for their characters to kind of have a more organic feel, hopefully, so they know what it was really like. And that is actually also in preparation for a Kickstarter video that's going to be coming out hopefully this Thursday, August 1st, where I'm attempting to raise a budget for my short film, a short 23 to 25 minute, possibly 30-minute film. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be giving, this next month, I'll be talking about it ad nauseum, and hopefully I'll have your support in helping me to graduate by making this short science fiction action drama called Collection Day. So be on the lookout for that. This next month I'll also be having all my videos that I make will have some kind of tie-in to the movie. They'll be kind of similar, either DIY or the $10 budget or some, prop making or whatever. Will all tie into the movie, and hopefully, those will generate interest in supporting the film. Because as you notice, if you look at the view count on the behind-the-scenes video, it's only right around the lower, about 1,000 views. Which is pretty low. If I make a video that's instructional, or a DIY video or whatever review, the view count tends to be higher. So I'm going to try and do some videos that are more universal as far as, things that people will watch, not necessarily because they're following me to see what I'm doing on my movie, but just because they're interested in whatever the subject is, and hopefully I can tie that into the Kickstarter page and have some success in raising my budget this next month. But that will not be without your help, so please be on the lookout for this. The Kickstarter campaign starting Thursday, August 1st. Okay, so having said that, let's jump right into the questions. The first one is from Benny C., who asks, I have a Canon Vixia HRM40 camera, and the camera mount is so far back on the camera that when I attach the tripod release mount to the camera, it covers the battery release. Is there a way to attach an adapter to move the camera mount forward? And this is it could be a common problem if you've ever used a camcorder to shoot with, because there can be on the bottom of the camera the battery release switch, which I don't know why they put it there, because if you're going to mount the camera on a tripod, the chances are that battery release can get covered. So as Benny here says, in order to take his battery off or change batteries, he has to take the camera off the tripod, even though he's got a quick release, and then remove the release, the plate, to access the battery release switch. Now I've had better success with cameras that have battery releases on the bottom of the camera if I'm using the Sima Quickonnect quick release, because it's only about an inch. The quick release plate is only about an inch square. It's great for smaller camcorders or cameras because it takes up less surface space underneath the camera, and my experience has been that it will not cover your battery release because that plate is so small. So I recommend, Benny, switching to the Sima Quickonnect, which should leave that switch exposed. There's probably a good chance you'll still have to remove the camera from the tripod. Maybe not, depending on your setup, depending on your tripod. But the base for the Sima Quickonnect is also like about an inch tall, and so it should raise it above your tripod enough to where you can get your finger under there and flip the switch so the battery will fall out. So, and they're about $13, $14 on Amazon right now, which isn't the best price. They used to be awesome at like $8 or $9 for a long time. And they've stopped. That's old news, I think. So anyway, I'll leave a link below to the Amazon link for the Sima Quickonnect, so you can get it there. All right. Next up, we have Miko writes us from Finland, saying, I'm making a short film with a scene where the main character is sitting in a city train on his way to work. Would you recommend using a glide cam or tripod for the shoot? It might be a bit bumpy. Do you have any tips for filming in a moving public transport vehicle? Well, the key word there, I think, is public. So you probably would not want to have a glide cam or a similar stabilizer on a public transport vehicle, because it's going to attract a lot of attention. I would be definitely more stealth about it. If you're going to use a rig, I would say use something like a handheld rig, probably, I mean, you could use my first PVC stabilizer where you're just holding it or you're resting it on the seats in front of the people you're shooting. But I would say even go more stealth than that. You could use the Frugal Stabilizer 2, which is smaller and I'd say doesn't attract as much attention. Then there's also just the fact that you could just be holding the camera using 2 points of contact, so you have a kind of a two-handed setup there, and you could just, like I said, rest it on the seat in front of them, or you could just hold it. If they're walking, you could just hand hold it. That's what I would do, because anything else, you're going to just attract a lot of attention. Any kind of a large rig is going to, have people. Plus, I don't think you want people looking at the camera while you're shooting, even though having a camera in and of itself is going to attract attention because people are going to wonder what you're doing. But I would say, minimize everything as small as you can. If you're going to have to use a rig, use a handheld rig, and I recommend the Frugal Stabilizer 2, which I'll leave a link to these, both the first version and the second version down below, because they are cheap and easy to build, easy to operate, and the second version is way more compact also, and less conspicuous, which I think is what you're going for. So if you're worried about, the bumpiness of the train, just use your arms as the gimbals or the stabilizing device. Just don't rest it on anything if you're concerned about it, because then your body will absorb some of the movement of the train. And of course, it's still going to translate a little bit. That's the caveat of you in doing anything handheld. You're going to get some movement in there, but it's not bad, and it looks good. So try that out and see what happens. All right, finally we have a question from Pat Hunt, who writes, I make YouTube videos and I was hoping to get your opinion about something. Should I save both the raw footage and the final product, or can I toss everything and just keep a backup of the fully edited video? This is a question I think everybody wrangles with. I've shot my project and it's done and I've uploaded it and I've got all this raw footage, and do I really need to waste hard drive space saving it? Well, I would argue, yes, you should keep it, because you never know when you're going to go back and recut something or render it out to a higher resolution or whatever. Use clips from it in another video, maybe like a reel or something like that. So I would recommend definitely keeping it. And hard drive space is really cheap these days. I just noticed on Amazon, and I'll leave a link to this below as well, that you can get a 3 terabyte USB 3.0 Seagate drive for $109. And I'm not sure where you're coming from, Pat. Hopefully that's within the United States, so you could take advantage of this. But that's really cheap. That's just really cheap. It's dirt cheap. So, for the, you could just easily, just save the video and not worry about, the cost. Granted, we're all trying to save money and everything, but I think that there's a, peace of mind knowing, hey, I've got this footage archived and I don't have to worry about it. And if I ever need it, it's always there. Of course, your hard drive can always crash, et cetera, et cetera. I personally, especially if I'm working on something that's a paid job or is really important, I will have 2 drives. I'll have a copy of the raw footage on 2 drives so that I can always, I won't have to worry about it, because the odds of both drives failing are pretty low, so, split them up. But yeah, I would save everything. The bottom line, that's what I do, because if I ever need to go back to that footage for whatever reason, and you might not even have a reason right now, but in the future you might, it's nice to have it, because that could save you in the future when someone asks for something, or you ask yourself that about the footage that you need. So that's what I would recommend. And I want to throw it out to everybody as the question of the week. How do you archive your stuff? Do you do what I do? Do you have it on 2 separate drives when you're being paid to do something, or when you're done with something? Do you actually save the old footage? Do you delete it? Tell Pat what you do in the comments below. So that's everything for this week. Again, if you would like a question answered on this show, please email me at thefrugalfilmmaker@gmail.com. And you can find all the Frugal Filmmaker stuff at thefrugalfilmmaker.com. That's the blog. And there's always the huge Facebook group right now, which I'll leave a link below, which is kind of turned into a giant forum. And you can find all kinds of information there, a critique of your video, answer your questions, just lots of helpful people, lots of smart people, way smarter than I am, around that group. So it's a great resource. There's always Twitter at Frugal Filmmaker if you want to follow me. I'm talking a lot more about Collection Day these days, so if you're interested in that movie, please follow me on Twitter down there. And you can also go to the Facebook page for Collection Day. And of course there's YouTube here, where I'm constantly posting videos some of which once a week of me jabbering to the camera like I do now. So that's everything. Like again, please be aware of the Collection Day Kickstarter campaign. I really am relying on everybody out there on the web to help me finish my thesis film, or start and finish it. This is the whole thing. This isn't finishing funds. This is actually, me getting just a base budget, which I'm still kind of figuring out what exactly I'm going to ask for, but it's going to be between $8,000 and $10,000. So you'll find that out on Thursday. But I have some good rewards, I feel, for everybody that is going to contribute. Hopefully beyond just the standard, here's a download, here's a link, here's a DVD, Blu-ray. Those will still be there. Here's some merchandise, but also hopefully get personally involved. So hopefully, if you contribute a certain amount, that I will actually, have Skype with you or something to help you with your production in whatever way I can. But anyway, check that out on Thursday. If you're shooting something this week, good luck making your film. Be frugal, but make a good movie. Frugality is all about not wasting your resources, not just being cheap. So remember that, and hopefully have a good week, and I'll see you next Monday.